Good morning and welcome to the first of what will be an exciting year of ANA webinars hosted by the regional TTA centers. We would like to thank everyone for joining us today for the OPR Writing and Q&A webinar. A quick introduction to the BB Collaborate tools that we will be using today. As you can see, in the middle of the screen is where you will find our PowerPoint. We encourage you to set up your headset and speakers by using the Audio Setup Wizard, which is the microphone with a red flower or a red wheel. If you're using the teleconference line, please be sure to click on the phone icon when you set up your listening and speaking abilities. You could raise your hands for polling here or to ask questions. We will encourage you to type your questions into the chat box, and we will answer those at the end of the webinar. We have whiteboard tools for writing responses. However, today we will not be using this feature. At the end of the session, to exit, please click the File and scroll down to the Exit to actually exit the session. A little bit about the staff here at the Alaska Region TTA Center. First, we have Anthony Keoli, who is our regional director. He has numerous years of experience working in capital projects and development fundraising. Anthony has worked with municipal and tribal management building, capacity building, and grant writing. He is a leading expert on municipal and tribal management, pioneering a municipal-tribal merger in the city of Quinnahock. Angela Camos is the Technical and Training Assistance Manager. She has worked with a diverse array of clients in training, grants management, program and project development, processes improvement, business and professional coaching, and organizational development. And you have myself. I am the Technical and e-Outreach Manager. I have several years of experience in project management, business development, and technology. I have experience in negotiating the development of new projects and processes to increase efficiency, and I am excited to use my position over the next year to really increase the amount of technology that's being used in rural communities. The Alaska Region TTA Center also has a pool of professional consultants in various areas so that we're able to fully meet the needs of any of our potential clients. The Alaska Region TTA Center, actually, let me go back. The ANA staff that we will be having joining us today are Sarah Shapert, Program Specialist, Christina Clark, who's a Program Specialist, Mark Allender, who's a Program Specialist, and Richard Glass, who is a Management Program Analyst. They will be participating with us today to help address any of the questions that the webinar doesn't answer and you guys need more specifics on. The Alaska Region TTA also works alongside with the other 3 regional TTA centers. We provide free training in each of the 3 areas, as well as technical assistance. So you could reach any of the other region TTA centers through our website. We have their links on our website. It's www.anaalaska.org. And we will route you to the region that you're in. And we offer a Google Plus community for collaborating and sharing of resources with other tribes and organizations, both nationally and regionally, at our Google Plus, gplus.2/ANA Alaska. You can connect with your resources on the national level by going to www.acf.hhs.gov/ANA. A little bit about ANA. ANA's vision is that Native communities are thriving. ANA promotes the self-sufficiency for Native Americans by providing discretionary funding for community-based projects, training, technical assistance to eligible Native organizations. ANA hosts weekly webinars on a variety of topics, including ACF initiatives, program success stories, application development, and much more. The webinars are held every Thursday. I have it down here at the bottom of the slide. The start time, we announce that it's 11 a.m. Alaska time, but it also, we provide the time zones for East, West, and Hawaii. So visiting your regional website will also provide the time frames of when the webinars are going to be held, as well as a list of the upcoming webinars. So here's a pretty big list of the webinars that we have planned out so far. So take a look at the webinars, visit the websites. At the top we have the events page where ANA announces the different events that they're having. The reason that we've selected today's topic is because on January 30th, the OPR deadline is up, and we wanted to provide the additional assistance by answering any questions today so that your reports may be completed on time. Please note that the notice for public comment is out for the new FOAs. When the comment period is over and the FOA is officially released, we will be conducting additional webinars to address those issues. Today's webinar has 3 goals. We want to provide you a quick overview of grant solutions, give you a brief overview of the OPRs themselves, and answer any additional questions that might come up. So as we get started, please note that the link there is your link for signing in or getting to the main homepage for Grant Solutions. And as you're signing in, the image that we have there is it's a cropped version of what you're going to see. And what you're going to want to do is click on, let me find my cursor here. You're going to want to click on the log to Grant Solutions. And that's going to bring you up to the login screen. This is going to be controlled typically by a grants manager, somebody who's in charge of doing the reporting. You're going to have your username and password, and you just click Login. Now this is where we need to start really kind of keeping track of where we're going to be going. Depending on how many grants you have open or have successfully managed, you're going to have the top image there where it lists out the number of grants, and as you can see, you have your program office, the grant program. So it's going to list out the number of grants you have. The next image down, the one of 3, actually kind of shows an expanded version of what you're going to look at. In order to get into your OPRs for reporting, you're actually going to have to click on the plus button there. And then when you click on the plus button, you're going to receive the different actions that you could do for that grant. Please make sure that you're clicking into the right grant. You don't want to be clicking into somebody else's grant and working on their report. As you can see, this example has 3 ACF/ANA central office grants. You have to make sure you click on the right one. You're going to click on the objective progress report in the list of actions. and you're going to come to the project information page or your cover page. Now, this page is going to be pre-populated, so everything is going to be in place, put in there by ANA, or by Grant Solutions, excuse me. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that everything that is being shown on this page matches what is in your grant award notice. Anything that is out of the ordinary, that is incorrect, please make sure that you contact both Grant Solutions to have it corrected and your program specialist. Now, when you're going to go changing between sections, you're going to go to the drop-down box that tells you, plain and simple, please select the desired section. You click the drop-down box, and please be aware that if you do not save any of your changes or any of your entries before you go to change, you will lose that data. One of the things that Grant Solutions does is it does give you a warning, and here's the warning that says, please click OK to continue, cancel to stay on the current page. And it does tell you that by leaving without saving, you will lose the data. We'll move into your objective work plan. As you can see, this example has a 3-year grant. It's going to ask you, the very first thing is, did you make any changes to your OWP, yes or no? If you've clicked yes, you will be given additional cells in which you explain how you changed your OWP, and it will ask you if you requested approval for these changes, and you're going to be given a yes-no tab. OWP continued. The top is going to be data that's filled in, and you need to make sure that everything is accurate. When you're filling in your actions, your activities, those should be pre-populated, and the only cells that you're going to be filling in is that center column, the quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, where you report out the different activities that you've completed or the different things that you've done to complete that activity. And the far column there, you're going to be given an option to pick whether the activity is completed, in progress, by whether or not you've completed it on time. If it's late, it's going to ask you why you've not finished it on time. Please note that the OWP is to highlight or describe the different activities that you've done. So make sure you're filling this in with quantitative data. The number of people who've participated in the events, the number of events you're hosting. Don't just put that you've hosted your event to fulfill that activity. Put that you held 3 events, and each event had a minimum of 12 people, so that it better paints a picture of what you're reporting out. Next, we go to the partnerships. Now, the partnerships is going to be filled in. The gray area, the target number from the applicant, that all should be pre-populated. Now, when you're filling in, you're going to be filling in the quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3 again, and you're going to be putting the number of partners that you created in that quarter. Down at the bottom, you're going to be listing out who that partner is and a brief description of how they're benefiting your project. Now, please note that the cumulative number of partners is going to be automatically calculated and entered into that far right column. The line where you're entering your partner's data, on the far right, there's the plus button. If you have more than one partner that you need to add, just click that plus button and it'll add a whole other line for you to enter your partner organizations. Leveraged resources. As you're going in, you're going to look at whether or not it's federal or non-federal share. So leveraged resources, You're going to enter in the data and in terms of what the source is, what quarter and what year it came in, and you're going to track that out. Be aware that the total is automatically calculated at the bottom by both quarter and by year. So at the bottom, I didn't get a complete screenshot for here, but it'll total it up and have a running total that'll be populated in the FAR total column. Excuse me, I lost myself. We'll move on to impact indicators. Now, there's 3 questions. Actually, it's 1 question, 3 parts. But you're going to update the impact indicator that you've identified in your grant. And a lot of this is going to be pre-populated, but you're going to go in and you're going to enter in, you know, the baseline measurement will be in there, and you're going to update on terms of where you are in the status of achieving that impact indicator. 5A and 5B, which is a part of this section, is only to be filled out in the 4th quarter of each grant year. So year 1, 4th quarter, you fill it out, etc. The number of youth and elder opportunities that are created. You need to put in the activities, the number of youth participating, and is it an intergenerational activity? Staffing is your staff that you've outlined in your grant, the key staff, the support staff, are they all in place? Did you have any change in your staffing plan? Was there any turnover? I had a note given to me, excuse me, guys. And please list all jobs that were required for this project. You're going to note the number of hours that they're working per week, and please remember that this plus button here will actually add a row for multiple entries. Any challenges? Did your grant experience any challenges that weren't anticipated? Please note that here. Yes, no. And did you overcome the challenge? If yes, you're going to enter in a brief description of the challenge and provide some information on how you overcame it. If you've had multiple, please again hit the plus row and enter that data. All of this data helps to paint a better picture of the changes that the grant is making in your community. Project sustainability. Here you're going to look at, you know, the funding that's required. Is the funding in place? Are you currently looking at other grants? Is your partners coming in? And you're going to be given options. Your desired funding level is met. You're still seeking some funding, but none is currently in place. Or, you know, the no funding needed is a good example of how not all sustainability is funding required. Some of the sustainability is the number of partnerships that are working towards the same goal. So please remember that you can click that no funding is needed, and in question 13, you're going to describe the different types of sustainability things that you do that isn't funding required. The financials, this is where you're going to have to work with your bookkeeper or your accountant. They're going to ask you, did you have any trouble accessing the funds. And the big part is going to be down here at the bottom. The forecasted should be pre-populated. It should be in there. If not, please don't think that you shouldn't do the financials. Just go ahead and enter your actual expenses out and contact your program specialist to let them know that your forecasted area is not populated. But you're going to work with your finance person to make sure that you're keeping as up to date in both your federal and non-federal tracking of your dollars for your quarter. If there is any discrepancy in terms of the amount of funds that are expended out, if there's a big discrepancy in what was forecasted as being spent and what was actually spent, just take some time and fill it out in that quarter as to what activities, what kind of, did you have a late start and therefore you weren't making payroll, or did you receive a discount on a purchase that left some excess funds so you didn't have to expend as much? Just note that so that ANA staff understands why you're not making, why there's that discrepancy between what was anticipated and what is actually spent. 17, do you anticipate obligating out all of your funds awarded in this budget period? Just stay on top of your finances and work closely with your bookkeeper, and this should come in fairly quickly. This section, please note that this is only for specific AFI, NABI grantees. This is in the OPR, but it's only to be filled out by the people who are actively working on an AFI project. This doesn't apply to a lot of grantees, but if you have any questions about if you're currently on an AFI project or a NABI project and you have to fill this out, please contact your regional TTA center or your program specialist, and we can help you fill this section out. Lastly, we will move into the questions and answers. We have our ANA staff as well as the TTA Center staff that is available to answer any very specific questions that you guys might have about your OWPs. We will open up the floor for any questions in the chat box or raise your hand. Gordon, you have a question? Gordon, we're not able to hear if you're talking. Can you type your question into the chat box, please? The first question we have in the chat box is, will this webinar be archived in the website for use at a later time, or is there a way to print the slides and keep the information handy? Yes, all ANA hosted webinars are being archived both on the ANA website, and each region is keeping their recordings as well. We have about a week that it takes to make these 508 compliant. So we're going to do some transcripts on these and make them so that they meet 508 compliant standards. So there'll be a little bit of a delay before it gets posted on the websites. And the next question is, where do we get Form 424 and 425? I will kick this question to Sarah, are you online?
Hi, this is Mark Allender from the Program Office ANA. So in order to get the 425, you can go to our website, which is acf.hhs.gov/programs/ANA. And we have a general search feature on our website, and you can just type in 425, and that's where you can find the latest financial form. Or if you just go to Google and just Google SF425. It basically stands for Standard Form 425. You can find that. It's a government-wide form, so you should be able to just find a copy of it on Google, not necessarily going through our website. The 424 is actually an electronic form that you'll need to fill out on either grants.gov or filling out through Grant Solutions. It's more of an official request for funds. So you usually do those forms in the application process, or if you need to do an amendment to your grant, then you will find an opportunity to, in Grant Solutions, to do an amendment to your grant, to prepare to submit, and there will be an electronic version of the 424 there. Hope that answered your question.
And the ANA staff was got that link directly to the 425 and pushed that out in chat. So thank you guys. Next, we have Janet. Are you able to use a microphone, Janet, or are you going to type into the chat box?
There's a question by Gordon Yellerman on can we use the hours that the maintenance man took to put together our desks, hours that the delivery man taking to our center as in-kind services. Gordon, I would take a look at your non-federal share budget and follow up with your program specialist. Usually ask non-federal share budgets to be declared with the award. That's not to say that they can't be amended or switched around a little bit, but that's more of a something you should work directly with your program specialist on.
Janet, your question, do you have one?
Hello?
We could hear you.
Okay, this is Janet. Sorry it took me a minute to get on the to get my telephone to work. My question is, we have 26 objectives in for our first year of our grant that we submitted in our grant application package, but only I think it's 23 or 20. I've got it in front of me. 22 showed up in grantsolutions.gov. So how do I add more, or does it only allow 22 activities?
ANA staff, you guys want to field that question?
This is Sarah Shappert. Can you hear me?
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Janet. Your the OWP can only be updated. You're referring to activities, and that can only be updated by your ANA program specialist. And you
Okay.
are my grantee, so if you can let me know what activities you see are missing. Well, actually, I believe you now
Okay.
have moved over to Joe, but If you can let us know what
Right.
activities are missing, we can go in and look at that. Have you already started entering
Okay.
your report?
No. No.
Okay.
But it shouldn't take me too long, so.
Well, I would recommend you not enter your report in until you contact us so that we can confirm that your activities are correct.
Okay. All right. And so I'll do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other questions out there? If there's any other questions, please type them into the chat box, but while we're waiting, we will move on to the evaluations. We keep evaluations to track the progress on how we deliver these webinars so that we could better accurately provide these webinars to you. We do have one hand raised and another question, so we will take those questions. Where do we submit the 425 and to who?
So for the 425 financial form, you'll need to submit that to the email address ANA reports, all one word, at acf.hhs.gov, and CC your program specialist on that. Yeah, you also need to submit your 425 with Department of Payment Management. Yeah, and that's basically a separate. I'm sorry. That's basically a separate account that is run through the Department of Payments Management, which is a separate entity from the ANA. So you should have contact information for a help desk there if you're having trouble setting up your account and filling out your 425 with them.
Okay, Jenna May, you have a question?
This is Richard over at ANA. While Jenna's typing in a question, I want to share a few other resources with everyone that, that might be useful both as you're filling out your objective progress report. Also, if you're a new grantee, we have some information that includes contact information for DPM as well. So again, this is on our ANA website, so I'm just going to put the link directly there. Here in the chat box, and if you click on that, it'll pull up the objective progress report page, and on that page you can see the step-by-step instructions on the objective progress report. There's also an option to download the OPR, so if you want to go through the objective progress report before you go into Grant Solutions and enter in the information, this is a Word document that you can kind of go through the questions, make sure you have all the information you need for when you do log into Grant Solutions and start filling it out. And you can access that on that link as well. And there's also kind of on the right-hand side of that page, there's some directly related resources. There's another webinar that you can record about the questions and answers on the OPR from a few years ago that that will kind of give you some basic information as well. We kind of have updated a bit since then, so this webinar will be good to kind of get the updates, information for new grantees. Also, if you're looking for some grant amendments like a carryover budget or things like that, there's resources on there. So really strongly encourage everyone to really explore the resource library on the ANA website. There's a lot of information on there that can help you out. And also, if you're looking for something specific, as Charles mentioned, there's definitely all the training technical assistance centers and also your program specialists to kind of help navigate through that through the ANA webpage. Thanks.
We have a couple of questions in the chat box. Jenna May says, I submitted for a login to Grant Solutions twice, but have no results. What should she do?
Hi. First, you should check if you sent that to the right spot. So if you sent that to the Grant Solutions help desk. Hello?
I sent it to the help desk.
Okay. So if you sent it twice and they still haven't sent you a login by email, I would follow up with a phone call. There's a, I believe it's 202-401, I forget the last four numbers, but it's at the bottom. If you go to grantsolutions.gov, it's at the bottom of the page. And I would just follow up with a call. And then
I won't give up. I've faxed it. I think maybe the problem is the faxing, that they prefer the electronic. But I didn't have a scanner at the time. So I will follow up. I've called twice, and then I've also contacted the program specialist, and I think she's working on it. But it's been months, and I still have not even an email. I mean, so I'm not. I'll just keep on trying.
Okay, yeah, I would say if you call and you still haven't got that resolved, why don't you call your program specialist directly? Because sometimes when we get on the line, we might be able to help facilitate getting that a little bit quicker.
I have done that, and I think she's working on it.
Okay.
Honestly, it's been 4 months, but in the meantime, and I've used the other login information from our nonprofit.
Okay.
I'll keep on trying.
Okay, sorry for any inconvenience.
And there are the two phone numbers and the email address for Grant Solutions, as well as their hours of operation. Yvonne, did you have a question?
Yeah. As part of the FFR 425, part of our requirement, when we logged on to our payment management system, we're in the 3rd year of our grant, and year 3 hasn't showed up on there, so we don't know how to do the report, the federal financial report for the first quarter. Who do I contact to figure that out?
So I would contact the Division of Payment Management. They should have a help desk line on. So I would think of them as the bank account that we awarded you through a bank account. And so once we throw the funds out the door, they're in charge of dispersing the funds for all federal grants. So we can contact them with you, but they're not necessarily like in this office. And so we don't have as a good understanding with the Department of Payment Management system as they do. So
okay.
Yvonne, this is Mark. So if you have any trouble, give me a call. If you're contacting them over there and you still can't see your money, let me know.
Okay, I haven't contacted them yet, but I've had an issue with that. And then also under my objective progress report, under the financial section, the forecasted amounts have not updated to year 3 of my grant.
Okay, yeah, and that's on me. So I'll make sure that I'll go in there and change your forecast for you.
Okay.
That's something that we edit on our end.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any other questions? Last chance, guys. Seeing none, I would like to thank everybody for participating today. Please note that the general feedback, you can go to an email. You could go to the ANA website, or you could email ANAcomments@acf.hhs.gov, and you could provide your general feedback to them or in our evaluations. The Alaska Region TTA Center team, here's each of our email addresses as well as our phone number. We've provided the ANAalaska.org website, as well as the www.acf.hhs.gov/programs/ANA to get to each of our websites. And we have the other Region TTA Center web addresses provided. Thank you for participating, 3-Star Enterprises and ANA. I would like to thank you for participating in today's webinar. The delivery of these webinars are to empower and strengthen Native communities by providing you guys with the tools for success. So thank you for participating today, and Hawa. Good morning and welcome to the first of what will be an exciting year of ANA webinars hosted by the regional TTA centers. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us today for the OPR Writing and Q&A webinar. A quick introduction to the BB Collaborate tools that we'll be using today. As you can see in the middle of the screen, is where the PowerPoint will appear. Please take a moment to set up your headsets or speakers by using the Audio Setup Wizard, which is the microphone with a red flower or wheel. If you're using the teleconference line, please be sure to click on the telephone icon when you set up your listening and speaking abilities. You could raise your hand for polling here to ask questions, or you could type them directly into the chat box, and we will be saving those and answering them towards the end of the session today. We have some whiteboard tools for writing responses. However, we will not be using those as a feature for this webinar. At the end, please remember to click File and scroll down to exit the webinar for today.